The year is 1973. The US have just pulled out of Vietnam. The Godfather just won the Oscars, and Pink Floyd's iconic album, The Dark Side of the Moon, is topping the chart. Over in Pakistan, there's a new constitution following the breakup of the country in 1971. This is a broken nation in search of new heroes. Unfortunately, there are none to be found in Australia. Pakistan have just lost a hard-fought test match at Sydney by 52 runs, and the Aussies have wrapped the series up 3-0. It's the closest Pakistan have ever come to a win down under, and there's frustration in the ranks building up against Intikhab Alam's captaincy. Intikhab's approach of playing not to lose rather than playing to win has seeped into the team and seen them lose the last two matches of the tour from strong positions. The second loss in Melbourne in the Boxing Day Test comes after Pakistan have scored 574 in the second innings, and on the final day they lose 3 batsmen to runouts, leading a local paper to aptly dub the team Panikistan. And the collapse at Sydney is even worse, where at 83 for 3, chasing 159 to win, they somehow end up all out for 106. But you see, this is nothing new for Pakistan. They haven't won a single test match in 7 years. In fact, the last time they were truly competitive was during the late 50s, during the golden age of the three pillars led by captain A.H. Kardar, star batsman Hanif Mohammad, and fast bowler Fazil Mahmood. Fazil's absence especially is sorely missed because Pakistan haven't been able to replace him in the decade since his retirement. And even though the young Sarfaraz Nawaz has shown signs of promise by picking up 8 wickets at Sydney, he has lacked support from the other end. But all that is about to change. Meanwhile at Oxford, a young all-rounder is quickly becoming the talk of the town, with his fast bouncers and big hitting. His name is Imran Khan, and he will one day become Pakistan's greatest cricketer. But no one could have predicted that back in June of 1971, when he made his debut as a 19-year-old against England. In fact, he would go wicketless and score just 5 runs with the bat, leading him to be dropped for the next 3 years. But during that time, Imran shows the tenacity and the willpower that would serve him well throughout his career. He decides he needs to bowl fast, and to achieve that, he needs to work on remodeling his action. The winter of 1971 is an important one for Imran. He's haunted by the memories of his debut earlier in the year, and is determined to make amends. The first step, unlearning everything he knows, starting with a complete overhaul of his bowling action. And to help him on this mission is John Parker, a young batsman from New Zealand who has come to England to find better opportunities. The two strike up a fast friendship while playing for Worcestershire, and it's Parker who helps the young Imran develop the side-on action and the trademark leap that would go on to mesmerize the cricketing world. In the meantime though, he would spend hour after hour practicing either on his own, with Parker, or with Rabi Mehta, a fellow schoolmate who would go on to work at NASA and even study cricket ball aerodynamics. Mehta also narrates Imran's love for Indian music, in particular Rafi Haider, who he would listen to on repeat on Mehta's tape recorder. Around the same time, he would also develop an exercise regimen that would continue for his life, including a particular back exercise which he credited with helping him avoid injuries throughout his career. The hard work would pay off, with Imran ending the season at the top of both his school's bowling and batting averages, as well as passing his A-levels to get admission to Oxford. Over the next few years, Imran's county performances are enough to win him a call back to the team for the 1974 tour of England, but here he isn't able to leave much of an impression, only picking up 5 wickets in the series at an average of 54. His bowling performances reflect the doubts in his mind. Should he bowl the English way, focusing on control and movement? Or should he just bowl fast? His natural aggression though hasn't been harnessed by his captain, the more defensive-minded Intikhab Alam. But there's another captain who will do just that. By 1973, Mushtaq Mohammad has already been representing Pakistan for 8 years across 3 different decades. But this year, everything seems to click for him. He averages 86, including a brilliant century in a losing cause at Sydney, followed by a double century at New Zealand and another century at home against England. In 1973 alone, he doubles his number of career centuries and narrowly misses out on a 4th against England. His performances see him taking over the captaincy from Intikhab, and the differences between the two would be apparent from his very first day on the job. Unhappy with the selection forced upon him by the selectors, he hands in his resignation on the first day of the test against New Zealand in 1976. Only an intervention by his elder brother, Hanif, on the request of Pakistan's first cricket captain and current cricket chief A.H. Kardar, would make him change his mind. But the tone was set. Mushtaq wasn't about to look the other way or turn the other cheek. Some of this could be attributed to the fact that he was brought up in Karachi as a Muhajir, an immigrant from India, knowing he would have to scrap and fight his way through life since he couldn't rely on anything else. And there just so happens to be another Karachi-born Muhajir, a 19-year-old by the name of Javed Miandad, making his debut in the very same test match. Miandad had been identified by A.H. Kardar, who had labelled him the find of the decade, and he would prove himself worthy of that honour right from his very first innings, in sharp contrast to Imran, who had to wait years for his big break. In fact, Miandad would find himself needing to show that famous Karachi crit barely a few hours into his test debut, as Pakistan found themselves 55 for 4, batting first in Lahore, with the great Richard Hadley having blown away the top order. By the time he was dismissed, the Pakistan total was 336, of which Miandad had contributed a brilliant 163 in his debut innings, punctuated with 19 boundaries. But he wasn't done just there. In the third match of the series, he would go on to score the first of his 6 double centuries, hitting 206 in just his 4th innings, becoming the youngest double centurion ever in the process. Imran too would stake his claim for the upcoming tour to Australia by taking 14 wickets, becoming the second highest wicket taker in the series to go along with his first 50. And so it was that 3 years on from their last disastrous tour of Australia, Pakistan would once again go to the land down under, this time with a new captain, a batting prodigy, and a new strike bowler. Everything wasn't new though. There was also a senior group of players that had been part of the last tour, and they included Majid Khan, Zaheer Abbas, Sarfaraz Nawaz, and Asif Iqbal, and each of them had something to prove this time around. Zaheer had announced himself to the cricketing world in just his 3rd innings, with a magnificent 274 in England in 1971. And even though there was another 240 at the Oval in 1974, these massive scores were accompanied by only 250s in 30 innings, revealing an inconsistent genius that would often go missing, especially when the pressure was on. He was coming into this tour against the best side in the world of a very poor home series against New Zealand, where his highest score was just 16. He wasn't the only one with a point to prove though. Majid Khan had bittersweet memories of his last Australian tour, where his first century, a blistering 158 in Melbourne, had not been enough to avoid defeat. What had stuck with him though was a private battle with the great Dennis Lillee, where Lillee had asked him where he was going to take off his ridiculous-looking sun hat, to which Majid had replied, "The day you knock it off my head." Majid also felt a certain responsibility as a senior player with 12 years of experience, especially because he was one of the 6 players involved in a pay dispute with the board. And this wasn't just any minor dispute. This was a battle that would shape the future of Pakistan cricket, with the new generation of professional cricketers up against A.H. Kardar, the father of Pakistan cricket. You see, in Kardar's time, you didn't play for money, you played for the love of the game. To be a professional player playing for money was something that the old guard simply could not fathom, and were heavily resisting, even as Kerry Packer and World Series cricket were completely upending the traditional order. For Majid, one of his attempts at showcasing this professionalism was by introducing a new training and fitness regime for the players, the first of its kind for the Pakistan team. But where there is responsibility, there is also pressure, and no one was feeling the heat more than middle-order batsman Asif Iqbal. Asif had emerged as the unofficial spokesperson for the players in their battle against Kardar. The problem was, he would go into this tour averaging just 18 against Australia over 8 previous innings. Now, it was safe to say that this Australia was the best one he would ever face, because since beating Pakistan 3-0 back in 1973, the Aussies were on an undefeated streak of 7 series that included wins in England and the West Indies. And the tour would start off disastrously for Asif when he was out for a duck in the first match at Adelaide, prompting Kardar to send him a telegram saying, "Is this what you are worth?" Luckily, Zaheer Abbas would shake off his poor form and spare Pakistan's plushes with a sparkling 85 that came at a brisk strike rate of 70. However, none of the other top-order batters scored more than 18, as Pakistan would find themselves in serious trouble at 157 for 6. Enter Imran Khan, fresh off his first 15 Test match cricket. Imran was known more for his attacking stroke play rather than his defensive technique, but here he hunkered down to play 136 deliveries, the most by any batsman in the innings, contributing a vital 48 runs. Sarfaraz Nawaz would also strike 6 boundaries on his way to 29 as Pakistan posted 272. In reply, Australia would rack up 454, an innings where Pakistan's pacers proved ineffective, and was actually part-time spinners Javed Miandad and captain Mushtaq Mohammad who would pick up 7 wickets between them. Pakistan would come out to bat staring at a 182-run deficit against the best team in the world. The senior players on the 1973 tour would no doubt have memories of what had happened the last time they were in this situation, on this very ground, facing a big first innings deficit. That day, the senior players had folded like a house of cards, Majid for 11 and Zaheer and Asif both for ducks, as Pakistan ended up losing by an innings. This time, with the pressure even greater, Majid would step out to open and battle for 110 deliveries before ultimately falling to Lilly for 47. No one would have been surprised if Zaheer had fallen cheaply coming in at number 3. There was still the impression at this stage that he would wilt when the pressure was highest. But on this day, Zaheer would come out and score what would be his only century in the third innings out of his career total of 12. In contrast to his brisk scoring in the first innings, he would see off 231 balls in this one, striking 13 boundaries and a 6 for a hard-fought 101. He was supported first by captain Mushtaq and then by young Javed Miandad until he would finally fall to Lilly with the scoreboard reading 236 for 4. Practically though, Asif Iqbal walked in with a score effectively 54 for 4. Now, just take a second to put yourself in Asif's shoes here. Kardar's telegram after his duck in the first innings is still fresh in his mind. He's asked for more money and now he has to prove he's worth it. Another failure here and it's all over. But this is exactly the kind of adversity that Asif's career has been built upon. And under this pressure, he delivers an emphatic, unconquered 152 facing 291 deliveries over 4.5 hours to defy the tiring Australian attack. He's joined by Javed Miandad, who scores a gritty 50 as Pakistan ended up posting 466, giving Australia a target of 285 to win on the final day. Australia seemed to be in charge of the chase until the debuting left-arm spinner Iqbal Qasim rips out their middle order with 4 wickets, helping Pakistan hang on for a famous draw. All is not well though. Pakistan's pacers, Sarfaraz Nawaz and Imran Khan, have only managed 3 wickets between them, and Pakistan suffer a further blow when Sarfaraz is ruled out of the second match at Melbourne with a thigh strain. He's replaced by Asif Masood, who barely threatens as Australia march on to a massive 517-run total with centuries from captain Greg Chappell and Gary Cozier. Crucially, Imran Khan, tasked with the new ball following rain, fails to take advantage and goes wicketless again. He will later state in his autobiography, "The ball swung a great deal, but I just couldn't control it, and with each successive over, I felt under extra pressure because I was letting the team down. It was seaming and swinging all over the place, and I didn't know whether to go flat out and risk wasting the new ball or slow down, pitch the ball up, and try to control the swing. In the end, I fell between 2 stools and was hopeless." In response, Pakistan's top 3 fire back, with returning Mushtaq Mohammad top scoring with 105, while Majid and Zaheer get 76 and 90 respectively. But Dennis Lilly bowls a fiery spell to bounce out the Pakistan middle order, wrapping them up for 333. Now comes the moment of truth. Imran's figures for the tour up till this point read 1 for 232. He finally decides to throw caution to the wind, and in the process sheds himself of the English bowling identity of control, seam and swing that has been holding him back so far. Instead, he just decides to bowl fast. He's spurred on by his captain Mushtaq, who tells him he'll take the new ball before tea, but only if he will be more aggressive and stop bowling useless half volleys. A fiery Imran then bowls a spell that changes his entire career, picking up 5 wickets, which include 3 clean bowled and 1 LBW. As Australia's captain Greg Chappell would later comment, "He beat me a couple of times with rising deliveries that moved off the wicket at top speed. He was by far Pakistan's best bowler, and a bowler who was improving dramatically." Imran's performance, though, would not be enough to avoid a heavy defeat for Pakistan, as in the 4th innings, only Zaheer Abbas managed 50 as Dennis Lillee completed his 10-wicket haul. The stage is now set for a showdown at Sydney. Now, a word here about the mentality of the players going into this match. Mushtaq had made it clear to everyone that the days of turning the other cheek were over. They would respond to the Aussies' infamous sledging in kind, or in Punjabi if you were Javed Miandad, who didn't speak English at the time. Pakistan also received a boost with Sarfaraz fit again, and he announces his return in style, picking up the wicket of Alan Turner in the very first over of the match. Thereafter, he continues bowling consistently on the 4th stump line, but at the other end, Imran is breathing fire. He bowls 26 8-ball overs, picking up 6 wickets to add to Sarfaraz's 3 as the two combine to bundle out Australia for 2-1-1. In reply, Majid and Sadiq give Pakistan a brisk start, but Lillee and Walker combined to reduce them to 1-1-1 for 4. Now, this was the same Max Walker that had taken 6 wickets in the second innings at Sydney to condemn Pakistan to defeat 4 years ago. And facing him was the debuting Karachi-born Haroon Rashid, who was joined at the crease by Asif Iqbal. Asif had made a career out of rescue acts. In fact, 17 of his 23 50-plus scores had come with the team in serious trouble. His first 50 came from number 8 at Wellington, where he helped save the test with Pakistan at 64 for 6. And his first 100 had come at the Oval from number 9 when Pakistan were at 65 for 8. But in Sydney, on this day, he would go on to produce what he regards as his greatest 100, and one of the most important in Pakistan cricket history for the impact it would have. For 213 balls, he would defy the Australian bowlers with percentage batting, picking gaps, running singles, while striking 15 boundaries. After Rashid fell for a fine 57 with Pakistan nearly level, he was joined at the crease by Javed Miandad, who was coming off a poor test in Melbourne. But here, the future great would show his legendary grit, contributing 64 runs in a partnership of 111 that snatched the game away from the Aussies as Pakistan finished with a lead of 149. And it was on the 3rd day of the match that the legend of Imran Khan truly began. Mushtaq handed him the first over, confirming him as the main man in the process, and even though Sarfaraz wasn't happy about it, the two would combine, much like the first innings, to decimate the Australian batting. Imran would bowl unchanged for nearly 4 hours, a testament to his incredible fitness, including picking up 3 for 4 in 15 deliveries after tea to break the back of the Aussies. But that wasn't enough for Imran. Throughout the tour, the Aussies, in particular Lillee, had bowled bouncers, including to Pakistan's tail-enders. Now, with ball in hand, Imran was out for revenge. Despite the umpire's warnings, he would soon have Lillee down on the ground after one too many. The message was loud and clear. This was a new Pakistan. Meanwhile, back home, there was a growing realization that something incredible was taking place. As news reached that Australia were just 32 ahead with 1 wicket left on day 3, PTV, that had not been broadcasting the tour, made arrangements to show the final day live. And so it was that at 4:45 am on 18th January, Pakistanis gathered around their TV sets to witness Imran Khan picking up his 6th wicket of the innings, dismissing Dennis Lillee to set up a chase of 32. Lillee would return with the ball in hand, bowling a fiery spell to dismiss Sadiq and Zaheer cheaply. Majid, though, who had been a bit of a bunny for Lillee during the series, having fallen to him 3 times, would fittingly deposit him into the stands for 6, in what would become an iconic shot to herald the dawn of a new era. Afterwards, Majid would hand over his hat to Lillee, both sides having earned each other's respect. Pakistan emerged from this tour with their heads held high and their reputations enhanced. None more so than Imran Khan, who had entered Australia as a medium pacer, and he left having emerged as the subcontinent's first genuine fast bowler, something that was widely believed to be genetically impossible at the time. As Imran would put it, top-level cricket requires a great deal of skill, but 60% of it is psychological, and the power of that message went beyond cricket. To a beleaguered nation, the heroes of Sydney gave hope of a better future. That one win would spark a cricket frenzy back home, bringing the spark back to cricket that had dimmed during the boring 60s. And following their victory, not just against Australia, but against their board for better pay, the players were on their path to superstardom. Sydney 1977 would become the beginning of a legacy that would give birth to the great Pakistani fast bowling lineage. The age of Khan was upon the world, and with it would come one of cricket's most glamorous eras, as the sport would see an explosion of popularity in the 80s. Nothing would ever be the same. If you like this video, do make sure to let us know in the comments. And as always, we'll see you next time with more cricket tapes.